For today's cup of coffee, we're going to continue the theme discussing murder. And Yates had started us off yesterday. And how horrifying is that, to the thought of being falsely accused of doing something horrible like that? And I've pondered that, because everybody that is in prison, not all of them are guilty. And that's been proven time and again. Murder is one of those things that we fear for ourselves, our loved ones. It's an interesting human thing that happens. And I've actually, whether it's good or bad or whatever, have known quite a few people that have been murdered. And I had told you several weeks back about the one gentleman that it was poetic justice. I'm not saying I'm happy that it happened. I'm just saying that it was not a surprise. And I have known, even when I was a child, I think the first, maybe the first murder that I heard of was a couple that lived beside my grandparents. And this was a matter of an abusive relationship that had gone horribly wrong. The people owned a small store at the mouth of the holler here. And so begging the woman to leave. And she would not. And so in a most brutal way, he shot her. And it was reported that as she was laying there on the floor, begging him for help, that he shot her again. And so I had actually been in the dwelling after that. And, the spot where the body laid, there was darkening of the wood in that area that could have only been blood stain. This is a very heavy thing, and it's like, is justice served? And I guess in some ways she was relieved. She didn't have to, she was a believer, and so she didn't have to suffer any longer. I think Jillian was like, don't you live in a small area? Yes, I do. And small areas do not always have a lot of genteel people amongst them. This is true of any area. And sometimes familiarity breeds contempt, especially amongst family members. And there are other tales. Somebody that I went to school with, actually they went to the school in town. I went to a different school, but they were my age. And it was a matter of abusive father, and that the son was trying to protect the mother. This was the older brother, and the father shot the son as he was trying to protect his mother. And I think he later did shoot the mother. We have had tales of bludgeoning. There was a gentleman out town that, I don't know whether his wife was actually going to leave him, but somehow he believed that she was going to leave him and take the children. And so it was a matter of that he bludgeoned all of them to death. I had mentioned we had a local serial killer of sorts. Is it 2 or 3 that, has somebody in the serial killer category? But this man, I did not know him, but one of his victims was a relative's husband's mother. That's close enough. And so this person went to prison, and they let him out. He had not been out for very long at all before he did the same thing again, which was he met somebody in a bar and took her out, killed her, threw her over the mountain. And seeing the aftermath of that. And there is something that fascinates us as humans with murder. And do we realize that given the right circumstances, within each of us lies a killer? And it's interesting because from a theological perspective, everybody's like, the commandments, thou shalt not kill. Actually, that's not what it says. The original translation is, thou shalt not murder. Murder is a premeditative act. Whereas if you are killing to protect yourself, your loved ones, that's you know, that's acceptable to God. So if there's any kind of question about that, yes, you can protect yourself. In fact, you are expected to protect your family and others that are innocent against somebody who has ill intent. Yeah, there's a lot of that in our world today of questioning. One of the first, I think that Edgar Allan Poe and Murders in the Rue Morgue is attributed as being the first detective story. So what is it within us? Is it that we're seeing our shadow? Carl Jung? That we think that we could never be the one to do that? No. I talked to too many inmates who were in there on murder charges, one of which the gentleman had never been in any kind of trouble before in his life, ever. And he said he got with the wrong crowd, and he will spend the rest of his life in prison. He did murder someone, and he had accepted his fate. One time. One wrong move. One wrong friend. So, in today's world, are we capable of this? I hope you are. And I don't say that in a, smart-assed way, because it's one of those that if you're threatened, if your family's being threatened, are you going to lay down and just let someone kill you? Because there are some people that think that they will do that. But everybody has within them that survival mode. And you'd be amazed at what you're capable of doing when your back's against the wall. So, yeah, murder most foul. If you all have interesting stories, news clippings, whatever you want to. No, I try to avoid the mainstream news at all costs. Supernatural, paranormal, hauntings, UFO, the big feats, murder stories, interesting legends in your area. And if you just need somebody to talk with, let me know. Give me an email at cupofcoffeewithscream@gmail.com. And you all have a beautiful, blessed day.